Hello everyone and welcome back to Lucky Loaders 15, where I'll be giving you 6 of my best tips for tomorrow's racing. Now before we get stuck into that, I'll quickly just reflect on how our selections performed today. In the end, we just came away with one winner, and it meant actually we had a small loss. The winner was Loxley at Kempton in the floodlit listed stakes, the feature race on the card there tonight. Loxley did the job well, I thought Wilde gave him a great ride out the back, and then when the gap opened up, got through the cutaway, and then in the end showed a good turn of foot to put the race to bed. So that was a nice performance there. Away from that though, it was frustrating, and it meant we would have come out with a slight loss because Loxley was our only winner at 5-2. We recommended all the other tips as win bet. Now the first one of them was Oscar's Man, who was really well punted on the boards today. Now, despite Gunnery being a non-runner, he was still run about a 10-1 shot when he was withdrawn, and still continued to be supported in the market. The money seemed to be down for him today. I saw at one point he was a short of 6-1, and for a long way he ran really well, and I thought we were sitting on a good one there. But yeah, on the final circuit down the back straight, he just seemed to get really badly outpaced, and then went towards the back of the telly. So yeah, very frustrating there, and he couldn't confirm market expectations. In the end, it was a Mure de Nuit for Paul Nicholls, who popped up at a big price there, drifted in the betting, I think, to 8-1. And I remember backing that horse a few times a couple of seasons ago, but it wasn't really one that was on my radar. I thought that horse was pretty exposed, but to be fair, was a game winner. So yeah, nothing we could have done today about Oscar's Man, just really disappointing. Elsewhere, the Nap Sky Defender, well beaten at Kempton. In the end, just didn't get his own way up front, and that kind of told, I think, in the end. And in the end, the less said about him, the better. So yeah, disappointing, no excuses there. And then the other selection was Harefield, who again was well supported before the off. Went into 9-4 favourite, recommended at 9-2. Okay, yeah, again, there were a couple of non-runners, but he was really strongly fancied in the market to run well. In the end, I think he ran okay, he just finished in third place, but it was nothing gripping, it was just a solid standard run, but he just wasn't good enough on the day. So yeah, it was a bit of a frustrating day today, but fingers crossed it's just a blip and we can be back amongst the winners tomorrow and have a good day. And like I said, we've got 6 tips tomorrow. Now my first selection is actually going to be running in the Melbourne Cup, so if you're watching this tomorrow morning, obviously this tip's already expired, but I'm going to be putting it up obviously this evening, and I hope you guys can see it and take note of it. And it's going to be running, like I said, in the Melbourne Cup tomorrow. My first tip of the day. It's going to be my long shot as well of the day as well. Runs in the 4 o'clock our time at the Melbourne Cup at Flemington, and that is going to be Master of Reality for Ben Melham and Joseph O'Brien. Now this horse is currently 18-1 at the time of recording, making this at 6:30 on Monday evening, and the current price is 18-1, and you can get that with 7 places on offer with Skybet. So I'm going to recommend an each way selection here, and I think this horse represents quite a lot of good value really, and this has always been his target, owned by Lloyd Williams, who likes to target runners of this race. Remember winning it a few years ago with Rekindling, with Joseph O'Brien as well. So definitely is some connections you want to take note, and this would have been the plan for him all along. He ran a cracker in this race last season when he finished in 4th place. He's drawn in still 1 that day, which isn't always the most ideal place to be. He's drawn in still 11 tomorrow, so a little bit better there. He should hopefully get a bit more of a smoother passage, and he'll be able to hopefully be handy without having to definitely get out there from the gate straight off, so it's definitely going to help him be in a slightly better draw as well. And even though yes, this is a competitive race, you've got the familiar names in here such as the Prince of Arran, who always runs a really good race in this. Finch as well, I remember putting him up a couple of years ago, an ex-Andre Farb horse. You got some of the familiar guns in here, but if you look at this race as a whole, I thought he was quite a big price at 18-1, and I think he should be a little bit shorter in the betting. And if you look back at some of his form in the past, especially over in Ireland and the UK, he's ran okay in some group races. And this is, like I said, I think always been the plan. He was last seen winning at Down Royal in September, so yeah, he's not had a bad campaign for this, and I just think he's got a good chance in this race. And some of the horses at the top of the market as well, some of the the former Aidan O'Brien horses, I should say, like the likes we've seen in the past, like Sir Dragonet and Anthony Van Dyke, those kind of horses. You know, I'm not sure they're going to be suited by the trip, and I think they might just lack a little bit of stamina, even though it is a kind of a speed test, 2 miles. You know, it's a bit of an unusual race. If you haven't seen it in the past before, you kind of can get away with it. You need to stay, but you need pace as well. And I just think this horse, Master of Reality, that course experience and that run last year might just hold him in good stead in this race. And I just think with 7 places, I would be disappointed if he wasn't there or thereabouts. And we know he's got the stamina, we know he's got the race experience. Definitely think he's definitely worth a good each way shout. So yep, that's going to be my long shot of the day tomorrow. You have to be up nice and early to watch it, but Master of Reality, 18 to 1 each way, 7 places Skybet in the Melbourne Cup. We then go back to normal racing, so some of you might not want to follow me in there in the Melbourne Cup, but back onto more calmer waters. And we go tomorrow with my nap of the day, which is the second tip of the day, which runs in the 225 at Exeter for the Howden Gold Cup. Now, I remember I was down there last year for this meeting, and I absolutely loved my visit there to Exeter. My only time there to the racecourse, but I would definitely recommend, once we're out of lockdown or out of this horrible situation, I'd recommend any Jumps fan to go down there if you haven't been there. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, it was a really good card that day. I remember seeing the likes of Sporting John, Janika, some other nice horses as well. So yeah, definitely a meeting I would recommend you go to. And this horse that I'm going to be putting up tomorrow in this race, the Howden Gold Cup, is going to be Greaneteen for Harry Cobden and Paul Nicholls. You can currently back him at 2 to 1, but I just think he could be the real deal over fences this season, and he could be the one that could possibly be the rapid improver and could definitely compete at the highest levels. Now, if you go back through some of his form last season, like I said, he really did progress over his fences really well. He won at Ascot, I think he won at Fontwell as well, won at Musselburgh, won at Fakenham. He ran in some really good races and he looked like a really exciting horse. He then went to the Cheltenham Festival, where he was the subject of a bit of a gamble. He was really well fancied for that race, but I still think, despite not winning, he ran a really solid race to finish in 4th place. That was a good effort that day, and I just think there's more to come with him. You know, he's still quite a young horse. He's only 6 years old, and I just think this could be the making of him this season. Also as well, Paul Nicholls is in red hot form, been having plenty of winners ever really since the Persian War meeting happened a few weeks ago at Chepstow, and he's just been cleaning up everywhere. And I just think this horse could be one of his stable stars this season. And another positive thing about this horse, I think he likes going this way around. Like I said, he's won at tracks like Ascot and Musselburgh, so going this way around right-handed shouldn't be an issue for him. He actually won over hurdles at the track a couple of years ago, so yeah, that's going to be playing to his strengths. And also as well, he doesn't mind good ground as well, so just a lot of things in his favour tomorrow. The ground should be drying out at Exeter. Doesn't look like there's going to be too much rain down there at Devon, down in Devon, so yeah, lots to like about his chances. And for me, Greaneteen, yeah, not an original selection, but I just thought he was a really solid candidate in this race tomorrow, and he ticks a lot of the boxes for me, and I just think we're definitely going to be wanting to be following him this season. So Greaneteen, yeah, boring selection, but it's going to be my nap of the day. We then go with an extra tip tomorrow, which runs in the 325 at Exeter with a horse called Killer Clown for Adam Wedge and Emma Lavelle. You can currently back this horse at 13 to 2. That's available with Skybet, who are offering 6 places on the race, so I'm going to recommend an each way selection here. Like I said. Now, if you remember last week, I actually put Killer Clown up. I think I put him up as my nap, but he became a non-runner at Newton Abbot, which was a little bit disappointing, really. I was a bit bedazzled why. I think maybe the ground might have been too testing for him. I think he wants it soft, but not quite heavy. There had been obviously a lot of rain in England last week, and it had made the ground quite testing, but I still a bit bemused why they made him a non-runner. However, if you go and look at this horse in more detail, he's always screen chaser in the making. I think whatever he did over hurdles was always going to be a bonus for Connections, because he had some good point-to-point form. He showed his hand to be not a bad horse in a bumper, and then he ran respectably last season as a novice hurdler. Ran against a big breakaway, finishing I think in 5th place at Newbury. Also as well, he finished in a fair novice hurdle at Ascot to finish in 3rd place, so he had some nice form. And last time we saw him, he ran at Utoxeter in a novice's handicap chase. Through no fault of his own, he was unseated by Ben Jones. The horse in front of him, I think, fell or hampered him, so yeah, you can totally put a line through that run. And I think I think the connections were disappointing that day, because I think they really like this horse for chasing, and I think of a mark of 124, that's a really workable mark I think they've got to play with there. What I thought was quite interesting is that last week when he was going to run at Newton Abbot, they were going to be running him against old seasoned handicappers, and the fact that he's a novice and he hasn't had a full round of jumping yet in public suggests that they think that this horse could have quite a bit in hand off his mark of 124, and there could be some nice handicaps to land with him along the way this season. And Killer Clown, like I said, I just think tomorrow there could be a little bit about him that's better than his mark, and for me at 13-2 with 6 places each way, I think that's a good each way shout tomorrow. And if he can take to the fences and he can have a clear round, I think he could be, like I said, a handicapper to follow this season. So that's why he's going to be one of my extra tips. Moving to the 355 at Exeter, we're going to, again, one of my extra tips here for Tom O'Brien and Henry Daly, and that's going to be Wild Spirit, who you can currently back at 7-2. Just going to recommend a win-only bet here. Now, Henry Daly's horses have been running quite well of late. They've had 3 winners from their last 12 runners, operating at a 25% strike rate. Now, the last time we saw this horse, she finished second at Ludlow behind a horse of Kim Bailey's called Yeavering Bell, who's actually quite a classy mare on her day, you know, and to get very close to her, I think was a really good effort, and I think she probably would have needed the run that day. Henry Daly's a yard that they always seem to need their first run of the season, and I think she'll come on a bundle for that. If you also as well go back through some of her form last season, she ran against some good mares, including the likes of Legends Gold, who's a useful mare for Rebecca Curtis, and also as well another mare called Kilconny Bridge of Anthony Honeybull, who's really progressive last season. So she's got some good form in the book, and off her mark of 108, she was raised £2 by the handicapper for that effort. I still think she's got a few pounds up her sleeve to play with. So yeah, I think she's got a really good chance in this race tomorrow, Wild Spirit. She's also as well going to be taking a class drop, which will help. That was a class 3 handicap at Ludlow. This is a class 4 mare's handicap tomorrow at Exeter, so that's going to help as well. And the ground should be absolutely fine for her. So there's a lot to like about her chances tomorrow. And I think Wild Spirit, yeah, at 7-2, she's a good one there, and that's why she's going to be my one of my extra tips of the day. We then go to Southwell for a bit of fibre sand action with another extra tip, which runs in the 403, a nursery handicap here, and I thought Pride of UK was a good one here for Tom Marquand and Gay Calloway. You can currently back this horse at 7-1 at the time of recording, and I'm going to recommend an each way selection here. Now, this is going to be the horse's 4th career start, but if you look at the profile of the horse so far, he seems to be improving on every run. Obviously, forgive his run at Haydock when he was on heavy ground. That wouldn't have suited him at all from his breeding. However, he then showed more ability to finish 5th at Wolverhampton on his 2nd start on the all-weather, and then he ran a really respectable race at Windsor last time out to finish in 3rd place. Now, tomorrow, like I said, he's going to be making his nursery debut, and from what he's achieved so far, he's going to be running off a mark of 69, which I thought looked quite workable in my opinion. He's by Star Spangled Banner as well, and that's a good move, I think, moving on to the fibre stand. He's got a really decent record at the track. You know, he's a sire you want to fire. A lot of horses don't seem to handle the fibre stand at all, and I think if you always want to make a profit, always look at the pedigrees, look at the sires that do well, look at the bloodlines, because there's some sires that have a great record, and Star Spangled Banner is one of those sires that have got a good record at the track, so definitely one to follow. Also as well, Gay Calloway's horses have been running well as well. She's had a couple of winners in the last fortnight, and I always think, like Chris Gordon, like I say, I think she's always an underrated trainer in my opinion, but she's always very capable at getting her horses to run really well, and she often has a few winners that I always find that go under the radar. Cosmelli, a good horse for her, that's done me a few favours in the past, but yeah, I think Pride of UK's got a good chance in this race tomorrow, and brings some of the best novice form here to the table, and I think from his breeding he's going to love the fibre stand, and Tom Marquand is obviously a massive positive. So yeah, lots to like about Pride of UK tomorrow, and I think 7-1 is a fair bit of value there. So that's going to be my last extra tip of the day. We then go to stay at Southwell actually in the 503 for the next best of the day, and I thought War Empress could take all the beating here for Sam Fielden claiming 7, and I think he's right in for his mum Julia Felden here for in this amateur racing. Currently back this horse at 5-2. Going to recommend a win only bet. Now, the frustrating thing about this horse, Yep, she's still a maiden. She's not from 12 career starts. However, some of her best form has actually come at the track. She's had, I think, 2 starts at Southwell on the 5%. She finished 3rd and also as well finished 2nd, and she never seems to run a bad race. She's taken a while to come to hand this season, had a couple of runs, but last time I thought she ran a really credible race to finish in 3rd place in an apprentice handicap at Newbury, but that was actually quite a decent apprentice handicap for the grade. And moving back to Southwell tomorrow, I think is a massive positive, and I think she's nearly ready to finally post her first win of her career on the board, and I really fancy her to go well tomorrow. And with the £7 as well coming off Sam Filden's back, there's a lot to like about her, and I think she could be one to follow this winter on the all-weather as we now get into the winter. So yeah, War Empress really sweet on her chances tomorrow, and she's going to round things off as my final selection of the day, 5-2 win only bet. So I'll quickly just recap there. In the 4 o'clock at Flemington, Master of Reality is the Longshot, 18-1 each way, 7 places, Skybet, 225 at Exeter, back to Calmer Waters, Greaneteen is the nap of the day, 2-1 win only bet. 325 Exeter, we go with Killer Clown for Empress, 13-2, 6 places each way bet, Skybet. We then go to the 355 at Exeter, Wild Spirit, Tom O'Brien and Henry Daly, 7-2 win only bet. And the 403 at Southwell, we go with Pride of UK, 7-1 each way for Gay Calloway. And then the final tip of the day, we go to the 503 at Southwell with a horse called War Empress. Again, 5-2 win only bet, and hopefully that will round off a good day for us. So they're the 6 best tips for tomorrow's racing. If you haven't done so already, please make sure you follow me on Twitter, where my handle is at LuckyLoaders15. If you're also as well liking these videos, please remember to give us a thumbs up, and remember to subscribe here to my YouTube channel. And if you want to find out a little bit more about myself, my website is www.chrisloaderracing.co.uk. So please gamble responsibly. Hopefully we can have some winners tomorrow, and we'll be seeing you soon.